Hello, my name is Felix Wachholz and I'm a PhD student and part of the neurophysiology group of Professor Dr. Peter Fedorov at the Institute of Sports Science in Innsbruck. Today I want to give you a little more detail into how to prepare and compute videos using the PManalyzer software. And I already opened Matlab up and I will start the program as you already know it from the videos we uploaded before. So I start run and get my general user interface right here. And I will use the very same data set as we did last time. And when we did it, we saved a struct, as you can see here. And if I now take the path by copying it into the path here, I can load up the settings that we did last time. So I press load here. And then I have my test settings that we set on. And if I press now change to selected, everything will change into the way we had it last time. And just to give you a quick reminder how it looked, what we did last time, I will show you again the videos from there. So I go in the video folder and go into the original motion, which is basically the motion that was recorded using the Vicon system. And if we take a look at the videos here, you see the videos, and basically it is a figure with dots that represent the markers. And since it was a bipedal standing, which you can see here, it is not much of movement. But for example, if you take a look in the principal components, so we click on the PM visualization, what does that exactly mean? We will come back to that later. If you take a look at the PCs, you can see, for example, here PM1, which is kind of an anterior posterior ankle sway, or here PM2, where you have like a rotation around the hip. And so you see how the movement basically is built up. And what I want to show you now today is what exactly the settings mean and how you can change them to make the videos look a little bit better. So without further ado, I would like to start with the very first part here. So if you change, or if you want to change the video folder name, so the name of the folder where the videos are going to put in, you can, for example, change this one here into movies. So then the folder will be called movies. Another thing you can do is you can choose how many subjects, so how often you want the original motion. And if you, for example, press or just give in the number 1 here, you will have the original motion of subject number 1. If you type in 1 to 2, you will get the original motion after post-processing of participants number 1 and number 2. Always keep in mind that you cannot go higher with the number here than you have right here. So if I would now type in number 3, I would get an error because I just have 2 subjects that I read in. And if I want to compute a video of subject number 3, it simply won't work. I think that is quite logical, but we will stay with the number 1 here. And the video of trials basically is the same for the trials. So if I want to have the first trial that I read in, I will give in video of trials number 1 to 1, or simply just 1, or 1 to 2 if I want to have 2 trials. It is the very same here. I just have 1 trial that I read in, so I stay with 1 trial that I want in the original motion. And now we come to the output of the PCs. So the principal components that are computed by the PCA. And if you have, for example, a data set where you know from the eigenvalues that, for example, 10 principal components explain 95% of the overall variance of the motion, you could, for example, go for 10 PCs that you want to see and to analyze. So you will then get 10 PCs, which you get a visualization how these PC look. And you could also just go for 5 or for just 1, but in most cases it makes sense to take a little more to really get a good idea how the movement is composed. And So here we go with 10 PCs, and here with a PC per figure, you can basically say how many figures you want in one figure. So for example, if I type in 2 here, we will get 5 figures with 2 PCs in each figure, since we have 10 PCs we want to have visualized. So we will get one figure showing PC 1 to 2, the next figure PC 3 to 4, and so on. And of course, you could also type in 1, and then you will get every single PC as one video or one figure. To make it in a little easier way, we just go for 2 here, and later on I will show you the output of that. So that's how the subject trial PC selection goes. Let's move on with the video type selection. For the video type selection, you can choose between 4 possible inputs. The very first one, the input data post-processing, basically is the original motion. So that what you have recorded using Vicon or whatever system you use, if you click this check mark here, you will get the original motion again. If you misclick that, you will not see the original motion in the output from the PCA. So that's up to you if you want to have that or not. Just for demonstration purposes, we will leave this check mark here right there. And if you want to have a smooth visualization of your PMs, or of your principal components basically, you can click on the PM visualization here, but keep in mind that it does not show the real movement, but more of a visualization with a smooth type of movement. I will show you later how that basically looks. But if you want the real movements, the trials, or the real movements in the trials and the subjects that were calculated, then you also have to press here for the PM trials and subjects box. So this will give you the motions of the single principal components as reflected by the participants. So these are the 3 most important video type selections you can do. The PM combinations I will ignore here because it does not really add much of value to your videos. So if you want to play around with it, please go ahead. But in this case, I will just show you how the input data post-processing, the PM visualization and the PM trial subjects will add to the video. And without further ado, let's go to the video settings. For the video settings, you have basically 3, well, let's say 4 options that you should know what they're doing and what they will, or how they will change your videos. So the first one here is the axis setting. And if you click on the drop-down menu here, you see you have normal 1, normal 2, and kind of different others. And you already see here, it's basically the same. So you have just a change in the X, Y, and Z axis. And that's what the axis setting does. It basically just changes the way or the point of view on which or with which you take a look on your figures, on your stick figures. So normally you can always just set it here on normal 1 and give you decent results. But if you want to change the point of view, you can do this by playing with these options here. Now let's go to a point that might really influence the look of your videos, because here the coloring option, at the moment we have no coloring black. So that's basically what we got when we did the very first trial. So this is just the coloring of black markers representing what we want to show. So these are just the markers as black dots, nothing very special. But if you want to, you can choose different coloring options here. And for example, you can choose 39 standard plug-in gate if you have 39 markers without the airbag. So the marker on the right back shoulder is cut out. And so you have different options here. And I want to show you a very nice kind of representing the figures, and that's by doing or adding lines between the markers. And I prepared something here. So if we go to our functions to edit, because what I forgot to tell you, right here you can see, okay, there are some options already, but here it says coloring option added in function. And you are able to create your very own type of stick figure by editing the options coloring width function. And that's what I'm about to do now. So here are our functions to edit if we press on the plus. And as I said, I already prepared something here, but I want to first open up the coloring width. So that's what the principal movement analyzer tells us here. If we click here, it says options coloring widths must be changed. And that's exactly this function here. And if I scroll down a little bit, you will find all the options that are implemented into this script we have written here. And for example, you have number 1. That's this part here. That's actually coloring option number 1, the one we just saw with the black dots. Then we have number 2. That's here, another option you could choose, and so on. And if you want to now write your own script or implement a function or a way of modeling your videos you like, you just write them and basically just implement them here. And that's what I prepared for today. So if we go in the coloring widths more options script, you can see here, okay, 6 and 7. The options 6 and 7 are Felix 39 markers and Felix 30 markers. So these are 2 scripts I wrote for myself for creating videos with lines between the markers. And let's have a look at option number 6. So we scroll down a little bit and then we are here. And that's just my way of how I decided to write the script. So basically I just wrote out which part of the body is which option cell and which marker represents these single components or these parts of the body. So for example, the markers 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the head. And then I had the connection from the head to the torso. The torso is are markers 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 10, and 17. And the connection I want to have from like all 4 head markers to one point on the torso is then 1 to 5, 2 to 5, 3 to 5, and also the 4. So I have all lines or all markers connected that I want to. But of course you can change it the way you want it to be. And so here I then get my coloring option cells, and here I can decide which color they should have. So for example, here the first line is in black, and then here we have the line which is in blue. So the first line, this one here, and also these one here. So the torso, the head, these are all black because of this part here. But then if you take a look at the 5, so that's the connection to the left arm and the left arm in general. So we have 5 and 6. These are blue. So I made them blue to have a differentiation between left side and right side. Because if you take a look on the right arm, 8 and 9 here, you can see, okay, it's red. So that's what I did. And to implement these kind of coloring options into your PManalyzer, you just have to implement it into your coloring width option. And I'm going to do it like that. I take the original option or function and I just call it original. And then I rename what I have written. So I have both options. If my option, for example, does not work, I still have it. And I will just call it options coloring width. So that's the option or the function the PManalyzer will drag onto. So now I will close the principal movement analyzer. We'll go back here. It's still open. I just run it. And if I now run it, I will change again to my struct as we did in the very first place. So my struct is here. I take the path again, copy in, load please, change to selected. Now I get everything as I wanted it to be. The changes I made are away now because I did not save it. So perfect example what you could avoid if you don't want to like redo it all over again. Just save your settings once they are done. That was a 2 and we click this. And now if we take the coloring option, the drop down menu, you will find the two options that we just added. And we have Felix 39 markers and Felix 30 markers, and we will go for the 39 markers. Okay, so that's a very nice way what you can change. I will show you in a minute how it looks, or you skip to the end of the video. I just want to give you two more hints, two more tips what you can do. As I showed you in the very first place, the test videos, we take the PM visualization. If you take a look here, it says amplification factor number 2. So this movement is amplified by the factor of 2. If you would enter in this column here 30, you would amplify the movement by the factor of 30. And I did this test-wise, so I made another test run here with the amplification of 30. And PM visualization again. And if you take a look now, you can see the movement sways more. So the movement is amplified in a higher amount, and this leads to this kind of more visual or more visualized shake or sway of the body. And this always depends a little bit on what your movement is. So sometimes you just want to amplify it by factor 1 because it already is quite a large amplitude movement, for example, walking on a treadmill or doing jumps. But sometimes, especially in balance trials, it is very necessary to amplify the movement a little bit. And as I just showed you, the higher the number, the more you will amplify the movement. What you can also do is that you, for example, what was in there in the first place was 2, 15, and 30. If you separate it with a comma, the amplification factor will always relate to the different numbers you enter. So I'm in the very first trial again, and here I had 2, 15, or I think 2, 10, 2, 10 and 30. Let's have a look. So yeah, 10 was it. So here I had the first 4 PCs were amplified by 2. Number 5 until number 8 were amplified by 10. And number 9 to number 12 is amplified by 15. So I'm sorry, it wasn't 30, it was 15. So here you have, if you have 12 PCs you want to compute, the first 4 will be amplified by 2, the next 4 by 10, and then you will have amplification by 15. So that's how you can adapt or bring in different amplifications on different videos. And you could also, if you have like 10 now here, we could also make every video separately. So for example, let's make a 5, then we make a 7, then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30. So now we have 10 videos set with an amplification factor, and this is the amplification factor for the first PC, for the second, and so on. So that's also a way how you can change your videos, or how you can make your videos look in a more in a way that you want them to look like. And the last thing I want to show you is the skip frames, because if this section or this option is not chosen, you will, or sometimes it might take a while until your videos are processed. But if you skip frames, you will just leave out every 20th frame in this case. So you actually avoid using every single frame, and of course that makes the video a little more fast, or it will make the video faster, but also it will be calculated in a much faster way. So this is also something you can play around with. I will stick now with the 20. If I would take this check mark away, it would take a while and the video would get quite large and quite long. If you make, for example, or if you type in 100, it will be super quick and very fast. So 20 is in most cases a very good option to go with. And now I will just call this videos, or let's call it movies, as we decided to recall the name here. So we have the movies and everything's set so far, and I will start the computation now, and I will be right back as soon as the computation is finished. All right, the computation is finished, and we can close all the little pop-up boxes here, and we can have a look on our results. And as we called the analyzers movies, we will find it here in the movies trial, and we take a look. We also found the folder that we wanted to be called movies with movies. Let's go in, and if we take a look on the original motion now, we have both subject and every time the first trial as a original movement, and here you can see the lines that were drawn between the markers, so you get a little more of a real stick figure that shows how the movement looks like. And if we take a look at the PM visualization, we can also see these lines between the markers, so it gives you a little more of a visualization how the movement looks, and it looks a little bit more like a real person that is standing there. And also it helps you to distinguish between left and right. And as I told you before, remember here we have 2 and 5, and if we take a look, yep, we wanted the first to be amplified by 2, the second to be amplified by 5. Let's have a look at number 3, that should be 7, and number 4 should be 10. Yep, exactly what we wanted. So that's how you can change the amplification factors depending on what you want. And here you also see how the PC analyzer, or how the PManalyzer now separates the videos. So we had 10 single PCs, and we wanted 2 PCs to be in one figure, and so we get 2 figures per video. And yeah, that's about it for today. I hope this helps you to make your videos look a little bit better. And if you have any questions, we would like you to write us a comment below. And if you like the video, please subscribe, and we will hear you next time. Goodbye.